I'm Will Ghormley, and I'm here to talk about the new barbecue rig pattern pack. Let's jump right in. The first step is to trace the pattern from the pattern pack to the tracing film. The second step is to trace the pattern from the tracing film to the damp leather. I often use a heavy-duty office stapler to temporarily attach the tracing film to the leather so it doesn't shift around while transferring the pattern. You can flip the tracing film back and forth to see what you've transferred. With the stylus, I generally transfer my straight lines first. After the straight lines, I trace the curved lines. A template can make tracing the circle segments quicker. Then I trace the freehand curves. At the end, I trace the floral carvings. You can flip this back and forth, make sure you have all your lines, and then we're going to mark the 1/8 inch holes for the stiffening rivet there, the female half of the snap there, and the male half of the snap there. Then our pattern has been completely transferred. Generally, I try to start cutting all my straight edges to begin with. Once all the straight edges are cut, come in and work on the curves. Need to be careful with the head knife. Going all the way through here. I am just scoring this for the final cut. This is going to be my guide. This is one of the better ways I've found to make inside cuts. You just take your time. You're less likely to make a mistake that'll have to have you starting all over again. I generally start by dressing the back, and to make sure I don't round off an edge where I'm going to have it sewn, I make this mark on the back first. Because I usually stitch in a little bit on this particular holster, I'll start in a little bit from the corner and not round it off all the way out to the edge. And flip it over and do the front. Just dampen them with water. On the main stem, where the edges will be sewn together, I only burnish the front edge rounded over. I leave the back with a flat finished edge. The rest of the edges are burnished with a rounded edge, both front and back. The stitching groove will be made an 1/8 inch in from the edge. I like to run my stitching wheel on damp leather because after it dries, it makes a nice bed for the stitches to lay in. The stitching spaces along the bottom of the holster toe are just for decoration, but even so, I like to start in the corner as if they would be sewn. Then I start at the mark where the main stem will be sewn together and run the spacer down to the toe. Then I use the spacer to mark the reinforcement stitches at the trigger guard stop. Except for around the tip of the safety strap, where the male half of the snap will be sewn in, the rest of the stitching marks are decorative only. If you're going to carve your holster, it's best to case your leather and leave it for several hours or overnight before carving. This allows the moisture to distribute itself evenly throughout the leather. The uniformity of moisture throughout the leather creates a superior carving result. If you're not going to carve your holster, you can skip to Barbecue Rig Pattern Holster Construction Tutorial Part 3 now. Otherwise, moisten your leather and allow to case. I prefer to lay my leather on my marble slab and cover it with tracing film, weighed down and the edges sealed with a towel. Others wrap in plastic and refrigerate. The carving portion of the tutorial will be covered in Part 2.